Hey, I'm not Macadon Scroll. Welcome back to part two of our gardening series, where I'm going to go over exactly what the soil situation with our garden beds is, how much it costs to construct them and fill them with soil, and what type of soil that we're using and what our goal is with it. Okay, so the material for our garden boxes, these are constructed specifically with 2x8s. We created 5 of these boxes. They are 10 feet long and they are 22 inches wide, 18 inches of soil space in the middle. So the material list for this is really simple. We're just talking about 10 10-foot 2x8s and 2 8-foot 2x8s for the ends, cut in 10 18-inch pieces and then very simply screwed together. So all total, the material for it, the 2x8s and the screws to hold them, were $250 almost exactly. And then we get into the soil. And I am a huge proponent of creating a living soil that is full of beneficial bacteria and compost that's going to break down over years, and you're going to get a ton of longevity out of it. And so there's a little bit of expense in this, initial soil investment and amendment investment, but it is going to create a soil situation that is beneficial for the long term and is very much organic and will produce fantastic results. So you can see we've got a couple of these beds that we haven't done the top on yet. And what is in these beds is a mix of these two products right here. It is this G&B organic planting mix, which can be used as a standalone soil itself, but it's better as an amendment and something to break down other soil. And then we've got this Harvest Supreme over here, which has some manure in it, and it also has some beneficial bacteria like mycorrhiza in it, and you're going to see that as a big theme as we go along. It is also good for soil conditioning. It'll help break up tough soil, which brings us to what the garden boxes are sitting on. This area over here that we turned into our whole garden, right, used to be just an RV pad. It was a big gravel RV parking space. And so what we did is we had 10 yards of topsoil brought in and dropped over the top of it. And then 2 years ago, we planted all this clover, right? We replaced all the grass with clover, which is fantastic for a number of reasons. One of them being it adds nitrogen back to the soil, because our garden boxes, they don't have any bottoms on them. They're not lined with plastic or anything crappy like that. They are directly over the soil that we intentionally conditioned. With this clover to add nitrogen back to it and start adding some positive nutrients on the topsoil that we had dropped on top of the gravel RV pad. And now those other two planting mixes, the Harvest Supreme and the G&B organic planting mix, those are mixed together at a rate of 2 to 1, 2 of the planting mix to 1 Harvest Supreme in these beds. And I spent around $250. They were on sale for 22 bags of the planting mix and 11 bags of the Harvest Supreme. Got a great deal on it, and I mixed those together fully on top of the soil that is underneath. And so those soil conditioners are going to help break down and condition the soil that is underneath this planting mix that we've put in the beds already. And so its primary goal is not only to feed the plants that we're going to plant in it, but understand that these plants, some of them are going to develop deep roots. They're going to go into the ground, and we want that soil to also be good. We want it to be good all the way through. And then what we do after we put that 2-part mix in there and get it mixed up and watered down and compacted down the little bit that it's going to settle, we get this Fox Farm Ocean Forest mix here, which is one of my all-time favorite potting soils. You could use it straight out of the bag. You could do none of these other things that we're doing here, and they will still do right by you. And then we're putting another bag right over the top here because it's more of like an actual soil base instead of an amendment base, and it's good for drainage, everything else. And that's what we're going to mix our amendments into, is this soil mixture here. What we're going to be amending with is all this good stuff right over here. Now, first and foremost, worm castings. You absolutely cannot go wrong with this. I know somebody who grew exceptional plants for a long time, and the only thing he actually did was create a living environment for worms and seeded a whole bunch of worms into his soil. And now he runs an organic farm that is basically powered entirely by earthworms. It's incredible. So your worm castings, we're just going to mix it right into that topsoil along with this bokashi, which is another beneficial bacteria made out of compost that's going to add a whole bunch of nutrients into the soil over a long period of time. We're trying to create a living soil environment. Now, I spent probably another $300 plus on these nutrients here, these soil amendments, but it is going to cut down substantially on the amount that we spend on fertilizers and plant foods, things like this. This is going to feed our plants year round, okay, without adding a whole bunch of fertilizers onto it, liquid fertilizers and plant foods, things like that. It's not going to need very much of that. Once a week, I brew up a compost tea, an organic compost tea, and I'll water it into the soil, and that's going to feed all those microbes, which are going to do the job of feeding all of our plants. That's what we want. So I'm going to show you, the real simple way that we, prepare the top and plant here in just a second.